had a few questions about the targets I use in my videos, so let me show you. Because I do a lot of shooting, I wanted fast, efficient targets so I can focus on shooting rather than the dreaded setup process. Setup alone can be the difference between staying home or building skills and information. So first I needed cost-efficient steel targets. Buying one might not break the bank, but 4, 5, or maybe even 6 can take away money from getting other gear you need. I went to a website called Shooting Targets 7, which at the time of this video had much higher prices than when I bought mine years ago. You have a lot of options as far as shape and size to choose from, but I like me some 12x24 C-zone torso targets personally. They include a thickness chart based on the caliber you plan to use, which is based mostly on velocity. Velocity is what slowly chips away at the material. This means using a 20-inch at a close distance will eat away much faster than a 10.3-inch barrel at the same exact distance. Personally, you can get away with the thinner targets even though they recommend 3/8 for 5.56, which is what I've got. I've used up to 8mm Mauser and even 30-06 with no issues. The thinner the target is, the easier they are to lug around as well, which the discs in your back will appreciate. Once I got my targets, I needed a fast way to get them downrange into position, so I headed to my local machine shop. This particular shop does fabrication as well and allows the public to buy raw materials. If you come up with crazy ideas, you can find the materials you need here, including the shape or length cut you need. I grabbed some 1/2 inch diameter cold rolled round stock and had them kindly cut them down to 12-inch increments. With 8 targets, I needed 16 legs. This came out to about 20 or 30 bucks, I honestly can't remember, and then headed to see my good friend at Imperial Machine Co. First, I took the 12-inch long round stock and put them in a lathe to turn the ends into a spike-like point. 8 legs takes a sec to do, but it beats grinding them down by hand. These spiked ends help punch the targets into the ground, especially during cold winter months when the ground's frozen. If this is a problem, you can bring a sledgehammer and pound the targets into the ground. If you don't have a lathe, a simple garage bench grinder will do, or even a grinding wheel if you don't mind making a mess. Once I finished up here, he set me up with a MIG welder since I'm going to beat the living shit out of these targets over the next several years. A fancy TIG weld isn't really necessary. Any one of you can buy a MIG welder and learn this pretty fast for general repairs or quick fabrication. He showed me several welding techniques over the years, and I appreciate him letting me earn my own end result rather than doing it for me. Well, he's also super busy, so anyway. I welded 6 inches of my leg on target and left the other 6 hanging off with the spiked end downward. I didn't go any longer for a few reasons. If they're too long, you can't always punch them deep enough into the ground, especially when it's frozen. If the legs are exposed, you'll likely shoot them off at some point and you're back to the beginning. With the shorter legs, the target itself won't penetrate into the ground, so it acts as a stopper to keep the legs safely covered under the ground. If you want these targets to last, the shorter legs also don't bend under constant abuse like longer legs would. Upon impact, these targets heat up from energy transfer, and you'd be surprised that even the targets themselves warp a bit. 308 and above does tend to bend these much faster, especially at closer distances, and occasionally a leg might break off at the weld. That's okay because I have extra legs laying around to quickly get them up and running again. Of course, you can always re-weld the leg that came off also if you like more grinding. These shorter legs are super portable since the overall size is kept to a minimum. Whether you're using a gas getter with limited space or want to just throw a bunch of them in the bed of the truck on the fly, these compact targets speed up transportation. I'm going to do a future video all about targets because this is a cool subject that's undervalued. Surprisingly, there's a lot to cover when it comes to what targets to buy and why.